Hotep. Peace and love to my brothers and whatever sisters who are out there. My name is Yirser Hotep, and the session we're going to do today is focused on the health and the well-being of men. Now, this doesn't mean that a woman cannot participate and benefit from what we're going to talk about and what we're going to do, but focus is on, on the brothers. And so what we're going to do is talk about some modifications and making some basic changes to some of our practices that will be a benefit to men, and also talk about some of the health challenges, both physical and mental, that men have, and what type of things we could do about those in terms of nutrition, in terms of detoxing, in terms of herbs and supplementation and things like that. And this is going to be the first of several different sessions focusing on that. Okay. So first thing I want to say is that one of the obstacles that men have in terms of getting in tune to yoga is that they believe that they have to be flexible when they begin their practice. They often believe that they cannot do yoga because they perceive that they are not flexible. So that is one of the biggest myths that I know about, that men hold about yoga. You do not have to be flexible before you start. Being flexible before you start yoga is like saying, I have to be in shape before I start working out. You work out and you start to exercise because you want to get in shape. You start your practice of yoga because, amongst many other things, you want to improve your flexibility and your range of motion. And we don't want to improve flexibility simply for the sake of being more flexible. We want to improve flexibility because of the health benefits that it provides. Okay? So we want to get the benefits that practicing yoga gives us in terms of flexibility, because it increases blood circulation. It increases the functioning of the internal organs. Because it increases blood circulation, it helps to improve our absorption of oxygen into the cells that make up the body. It helps to improve our absorption of nutrients, because blood carries nutrients into the cells, into the tissues, into the organs, so everything is dependent upon blood. When we increase our flexibility and our range of motion through slow, controlled movement, we are also pushing lymphatic fluid through the lymph vessels in the body. And that helps to eradicate toxins. It helps to detox the body, and it helps to stimulate the immune system. Another thing that happens when we increase our flexibility and we do movements, we do slow movement, is that we are actually also stimulating the flow of cerebral spinal fluid. Now, cerebral spinal fluid envelops around the brain inside of the skull. It envelops the nerve channels, the nerve vessels that carry nerve energy throughout the body, what we call nerve innervation, right? And so these nerves, the actual nerves themselves, they have a slight surrounding. They are surrounded by cerebral spinal fluid. And cerebral spinal fluid carries information. It carries information that we call energy, okay, in the form of energy. And so, cerebral spinal fluid helps to protect the brain. It helps to protect the spinal column because it makes like a fluid barrier around those different nerve organs. But it also carries energy, and it carries information. And so oftentimes when we're talking about, do you feel the energy when you move, when you go through your yoga movements and postures, we're talking about energy that's being carried by the cerebral spinal fluid. So we're talking about electrical charges that are being carried. And these electrical charges help to improve our health and our well-being and give us energy and so on and so forth, right? So those are just a few of the benefits of having better flexibility. Also, as you improve flexibility, you are also resisting the erosion of your body that is caused by stiffness, right? When you have arthritis, when a person has arthritis, that means that there is a problem in the joints, where the joints have become inflamed. So there's some degree of swelling taking place in the joints. The cartilage between two bones, the cartilage is like a covering of a certain type of tissue that protects the ends of bones and keep them from rubbing up against each other. So oftentimes that cartilage wears away. Some of the reasons why cartilage wears away is because of lack of activity. So we don't move enough to keep blood supply and keep motion in the joint. And also because of the types of foods that we eat. Eating a lot of meat, eating, not drinking enough water, drinking alcohol, consuming, cigarettes and things like that. It causes a deterioration of those protective tissues. And as those tissues deteriorate, you get more bone-to-bone contact, which is very painful. And it's very hard to rejuvenate or to regrow that connective tissue. Also between two joints, between the bones that make up a joint, let's say this is my knee, my fist on my knee, and my knee has to move, right? And there is a fluid in between called a synovial fluid. And so in addition to the cartilage, which is a flesh coating, a tissue coating, a rough tissue coating on the bone, there is also a fluid between the two bones called synovial fluid. And this also helps to protect the bones and to keep the bones from rubbing up together. So we see in arthritis, we see a deterioration of all of those different structures, the bone and the, not the bone, but the cartilage and the synovial fluid. And again, all of these things react to what we put into our bodies. Everything about our bodies is a result of whatever we consume. So we consume good stuff that actually build the body, that actually contribute to the building blocks of the body, we will have good health. If we consume bad products that break down the tissues of the body, we're going to have poor health, okay? So I'm 67 years old. I started practicing yoga when I was around 21 or 22 years old. My purpose in starting one of the things I realized after I started to practice yoga, at least I realized this after the first class, was that yoga was something that I wanted to do, that I needed to do, because of the fact that I felt that it would increase and improve my chances for longevity. I also felt that it would help me to maintain a youthful body and to have health and wellness into my older years. And I don't feel like I'm older now. I'm older than I used to be, but I don't feel old, even though many people say when they get into their 60s that they have become old. I don't feel old. Old is what you feel. And because at that age of 21, I decided to not eat meat. I decided to not drink alcohol. I decided to not smoke cigarettes. I decided to eat healthy foods and to create a lifestyle where I have the ethic of wellness, where being healthy and maintaining wellness was an ethical value that I developed, right? That I acquired. So I lived my life based upon those ethics, eating vegetables, eating fruits, periodic fasting and cleansing of my system from 21 until 67. A daily practice of yoga, okay, and it makes a difference. Now, when I started to practice yoga, was I flexible? No, I was very stiff. So for example, when I would sit down and cross my legs, I was like this. My ankles was tight, my knees was tight, and my hips were tight. And so I could not sit down. If I sat down like this, I would often fall down like that because I was so stiff. So it's very hard for me to sit up straight because I had been an athlete earlier. I played football, I played a lot of basketball. I used to run a lot, so a lot of my tissues, a lot of my major muscles were tight. So when I started to practice yoga and I started to do a variety of different movements and postures, my body began to change. And so I went from being like this when I sat down to at least being able to sit comfortably like this. And then eventually I was able to do something like a half lotus position. So when I first did a half lotus, I was like this. My knee was up. So I worked all summer to get my leg to go down, to come down to here. And so this is what we call the half lotus position. And so then later on, I'm not warmed up yet, so I'm not going to do it. But later on, you bring up the other foot and you have both legs, you have both feet up here on your thighs. So to get started, what I'm going to ask you to do is to focus on sitting properly. Now, we're going to use pillows to assist us in the sitting process, right? So the first thing you want to do is get you a nice cushion, not cushion, but firm, a nice firm pillow like this. And you might even want to use 2 pillows, depending upon your state of stiffness, or you can even get 3 pillows to sit up on, right? So we're going to use these to sit on in order to practice our sitting position and in order to get you to a point where you can be comfortable when you sit down in your yoga practice and you work on breathing, okay? So we use these pillows, and you don't need all 3. You can use how many you want. I'm just going to use 3 for right now because you want to elevate your buttocks, but you want your feet and your legs to come down. So when you sit up on the pillow, you should be able to see how much more comfortable you are. And so now it takes the pressure off of the ankles, off of the knees, off of the hips and the lower back. And now you're able to sit comfortably in this position with your buttocks propped up underneath the pillows and your ankles and your knees relaxed and comfortable on the floor, okay? So if you have pillows, or if you don't, if you have them, grab them and go sit on them. If you don't have them, you need to go get you some. But you want to sit on something firm, okay? Sometimes you see people sitting on a block, like I have one here, like a like a yoga block, right? These are not comfortable to me. I prefer not to sit up on the yoga block. It's too small. It's better than nothing, but it's not wide enough to really accommodate the whole butt. So I'd rather just get some pillows and be comfortable, okay? So once we're sitting on top of our pillows, then we are going to practice some our breathing exercise. We're gonna practice breathing, okay? Now, nobody can say that they're too stiff to breathe, okay? To breathe, all you need to have is a nose, a windpipe, and some lungs, right? That's what you need to breathe. And so what we're going to focus on is how to breathe properly. And because breathing is so important and fundamental to health and well-being of anybody, and also very important and fundamental to the health and well-being of men. Men, especially Black men, often have a higher rate of smoking in terms of cigarette consumption and the smoking of marijuana, right? And however you feel about marijuana, because we know that it can have some additional properties and stuff like that. When you burn it in a joint and you smoke it, you are putting tars into your lungs, and over time, it is affecting the health and well-being of your lungs, even though you may have some other benefits to it, right? Because we know that cannabis has various health benefits, but smoking it may not be the best way to deliver it into your body. Cigarettes definitely have zero health benefits and about 10,000, health demerits, in terms of negative outcomes for your health. So it's nothing about smoking a cigarette that's good for you. And so because men, especially Black men, have a higher rate of cigarette consumption, breathing is something that we need to learn how to do. Controlled deep breathing helps to, number one, activate the respiratory system. It helps to cleanse old air from the lungs, right? Because if you're smoking, even if you're not smoking, but whatever you're doing, smoking or not smoking, you can have old air trapped into your lungs, right? And so you want to be able to expel this old air. You want to be able to activate your respiratory system, activate your lungs by expanding them with your inhalation and contracting them with your exhalation. Because your lungs are like any other tissue. If I don't move my arm, right? If I don't do a push-up or I don't do a yoga pose that creates resistance, my muscles in my arm are not going to be as firm. They're not going to be as strong. My bone is not going to be as strong as it needs to be, because resistance, when you hold in a position, helps to create resistance. Your lungs are the same way. Your lungs are tissue. Your lungs are designed to expand and to contract. Your lungs are designed to have a certain degree of flexibility. And so when you don't use your lungs and you only use your lungs to the minimal amount, which is necessary for you to live, then you are not getting the full benefit, okay? So I just want to explain some of this the rationale and science behind what we're doing and why we do it. Because oftentimes, because we are not aware of why we should do something, we do not do it. So we want to be aware and we want to do it, for the purposes, and we want to have the intention of doing our practice for specific purposes. Okay, so we're breathing. We're going to engage in controlled deep breathing, and from today on, for the rest of your life, you're going to take out some time every day to engage in controlled deep breathing. Okay, so I want you to sit as comfortable as you can. If you don't have a pillow, you can even sit up in a chair. Okay, you can do this in a chair. The main thing is that you become comfortable and you practice breathing. I want you to take your right hand or you take your left hand, either one. Take one of your index fingers, and I want you to find your navel. And when you find your navel, I want you to put your hand right below your navel. Put your other hand on the back of that hand. So usually the right hand goes here and the left hand goes there on the back. Okay? And then with your eyes closed, you're going to slowly breathe in through your nose, and the area where your hands are resting are going to expand outward. Now hold your breath. Let your mouth open and then exhale like. Squeeze all the air out, right? Now close your mouth and then slowly, very slowly breathe in. Hold it, open your mouth. You're going to breathe out through your mouth. Close your mouth and breathe in through your nose. Hold it, let your mouth open, and then breathe out. Okay? That is called cleansing breath, because we're trying to cleanse old air from the lungs. We're trying to expand and contract the lungs so that we can activate the motion of the lungs, so that we can cause old air to be expelled from the lungs, and we can maintain the flexibility and the range of motion of the lungs, right? So many of the practices that we do, not just breathing exercises, but movements and postures, are for the purpose of expansion and contraction of the lungs, right? So after you finish cleansing breath, because cleansing breath is what? Inhale through the nose, hold it, open the mouth, exhale through the mouth. That is called cleansing breath. Then we get into controlled deep breathing, which is inhaling through the nose, hold it, exhaling out through the nose. So in cleansing breath, you breathe into the nose, exhale to the mouth. In controlled deep breathing, you breathe into the nose, you exhale out through the nose. Okay? And so you want to become proficient at these processes of breathing so that you are able to control your thoughts and your emotions, right? Because the more that you are able to control your breathing is an indicator of the degree to which you are able to control your thoughts and your emotions. Men often accuse women of being emotional. Women who observe men often accuse men of having emotional periods, just like men accuse women of having emotional periods. Because our emotions, whether you're male or female, are related to the impact that our hormones have upon us. And so when our hormones become out of balance, it causes the mind, the thoughts, and the emotions to maybe become out of balance, or maybe to even run roughshod into, so to speak, in terms of going on an emotional roller coaster. People often have a lack of ability to concentrate, ability to focus, ability to stay on task. Men, another thing that I find is a feature of men's psychology, male psychology, is that males often become despondent, especially Black men. We become despondent, we become depressed because of the circumstances that we find ourselves in. We become frustrated with the fact that we are hindered from making the income that we know that we should be able to make. We feel hindered and not being able to get the opportunities to advance ourselves on a professional level that we should be able to have. Even though we may cope with them on the external level, they are still irritating us on the internal level. And so learning how to relieve stress, which occurs when we engage in controlled deep breathing, learning how to control our thoughts and our emotions, and not to let these experiences that we're having, dealing with racism and white supremacy and lack of opportunity and oppression and the feeling of somebody taking something from us or keeping us from having something, and the deep psychological effects that these have, is very important. We have to learn how to cut into that cycle that we are in, okay? And so controlled deep breathing is always our intervention at cutting this cycle of anger, frustration, sense of hopelessness, sense of depression, sense of despondency. Oftentimes when you feel hopeless, you are going to turn to something that's going to give you less of that feeling of hopelessness. So that's when you'll drink the alcohol, or that's when you'll use a drug, or that's when you will smoke the marijuana even. I'm not saying marijuana is bad again. I'm just saying, like, when you use it, why are you using it? Are you using it because you're frustrated, or are you using it for some other reason? Okay. So when you're frustrated, when you're angry, don't smoke a joint, don't smoke a cigarette, don't go have a drink. Have a breath. And because it's all natural and it's available to you, because it's everywhere, we're surrounded by it. Okay. So I'm taking the time to break these things down so that we can have an understanding. Okay. So breathing. We're going to go through a couple of different breathing exercises. Okay. And these are breathing exercises that anybody can do, but I think men can especially benefit from them. I want you to take your, you can either place your hands like this on your knees, depending upon your sitting. You can place your hands like this in your lap, okay, with the left hand underneath, the right hand on top of the left hand, the thumbs touching. I often like to sit in this position, or you can sit like this with your thumb and your four fingers touching together on each hand, your wrist rested upon your knee. And we can find examples from ancient Egypt where people are holding their hands in these positions and so on and so forth. So this is not just an Indian thing, right? This is a Kemetic. This is an African thing, and what we're doing is that we're connecting two opposite energies together. Okay. Now, you want to take the tip of your tongue. You want to place, just try to place it in a comfortable place within your mouth. But ideally, try to let the tip of your tongue sort of lightly touch the center of your hard palate, right at the roof of your mouth. Let it rest there gently. And all your breathing is going to be done in and out through your nostrils. So, with the tip of the tongue connected to the roof of the mouth, you're going to breathe in slowly through the nose. Now hold your breath. Now slowly breathe out through the nose. Now breathe in through the nose. Hold it. Now breathe out through the nose. Now breathe in through the nose. Hold it. Now slowly breathe out. Now breathe in. Slowly breathe out. Okay, now I want you to take your thumb on your right hand and your index finger. We're going to use the thumb to control the opening and closing of your right nostril. We're going to use the index finger to control the opening and closing of your left nostril. So you're going to take your thumb and you're going to close your right nostril. You're going to breathe in through your left nostril. Put your lungs all the way up to a comfortable point. Now, slowly breathe out through your left. Now close your left and open your right. Now breathe in through your right. Hold it. Now breathe out through your right. Now close your right, open your left. I want you to breathe in through your left. Close your left, open your right. Now breathe out through your right. Now breathe in through your right. Close your right, open your left. Exhale out through your left. Now remove your right hand from your nose, put your thumb and four fingers together, and put your wrist to your knee. Keep your lips together. Keep your tongue in a comfortable place within your mouth. Now breathe slowly through your nose, inhaling and slowly exhaling. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your nose. Okay, now, just allow yourself to become still. Don't try to inhale. Don't try to exhale. Just allow yourself to breathe naturally. Just let your breath move at its own volition. And you should notice that your breathing is slower, your breathing is deeper. You should notice a greater state of calmness within your mind. You should notice that your thoughts have slowed down. Okay, now, rub your palms together. And then take the heel of your hands, gently massage your eyes. Gently massage your temples, making circular motions. And then gently massage your forehead. Okay? Now, you should feel different now. That was a very short sort of breathing and meditation session, right? But you should feel different. You should feel the various changes and benefits that have come over you as a consequence of doing that particular technique, okay? Now, we want to increase the benefits of breathing, and we're going to go deeper into the science and the process of how to control thoughts and emotions. As I said previously, we measure our ability to control our thoughts and our emotions by how well we are able to control and regulate the breath. The more we regulate the breathing, the more we are regulating the nervous system. Okay? Now, we're going to do something called, we're going to continue to do something called alternate nostril breathing. But this time, we're going to add the counting of the breath. When we breathe in, we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. So we're going to count to 4. We're going to say, in our minds, right? We're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how long we're going to breathe in for. And then when we exhale, we're going to exhale for twice as long. We're going to exhale for 8. So we're going to say in our minds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you want to slow your inhalation to the point that you can inhale for a count of 4. You want to slow your exhalation to the point where you can exhale for a count of 8. Now, those numbers are your goals. Some people may be able to reach those numbers easily. Some people may have a harder time. Okay, so the goal, but part of your task is not to allow yourself to strain your breathing. So if you find it very difficult to exhale for a count of 8, exhale for a count of 6, or exhale for a count of 4. The main thing I want you to do is to very consciously breathe. But the more you practice this breathing exercise and combine it with the movements and the postures, the more that you're going to be able to, the better your control over your breathing is going to be. And again, the better you control your breathing, the better you control your thoughts and your emotions. Okay? So we're going to take the thumb. So we're going to use the thumb and the forefinger again, right? We're going to put the right thumb to the right nostril. We're going to place the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. And then we're going to slowly breathe in through the nose, count to 4, and then slowly breathe out to the left, count to 8. Close your left nostril, open up your right nostril, breathe in and count to 4. Hold it, exhale for 8. Close your right, open your left. As you are breathing in, count to 4. Now hold both your nostrils shut. Open your right nostril, exhale and count to 8. Now breathe into the right and count to 4. Hold both your nostrils shut. Open your left nostril, exhale for 8. Now breathe into your left and count to 4. Close your left, open your right, exhale for 8. Now breathe into your right and count to 4. Close your right, open your left, exhale for 8. Now, remove your right hand from your nose, put your thumb and your forefingers together, and place your wrist to your knee, or sit in whatever way is comfortable for you. And then breathe through both your nostrils, keep the tip of the tongue connected to the roof of the mouth. Allow yourself to remain calm. You may notice different thoughts trying to come into your mind. Your goal is to focus your attention on your breathing and not on those thoughts. So your task is to focus on your inhalation and your exhalation. Observing the breath as it comes into your nostrils and fill up your lungs. Observing the breath as it leaves your nostrils and empties your lungs. Now, we're gonna recite some words and some sounds of power. And so we call these words and sounds of power, we call them Om, O-M, Shu, S-H-U, and Ra, R-A. Om is a universal sound of energy. Shu represents the breath and the life force that surrounds us. And Ra represents the life force and energy from the sun. So we're going to combine all three sounds together into Om Shu Ra. Okay, so everybody together, breathe in through your nose. Om. Sorry. Then we're going to do it 2 more times, 3 times. Excuse me. Breathe in through your nose. Again, breathe in. Now breathe through your nose. Okay, now rub your hands together. Sometimes your legs can become a little, can go to sleep. When you keep them crossed like that, that's okay. That's natural. That's normal. So sometimes you may have to stretch them out, open them up, stretch them. But you rub your hands together and you gently massage your eyes, your temples, and your forehead. Okay? And so, Om, Shu, and Ra, those are examples of what I call sounds of power. Okay? They actually cause your body to vibrate. Everything in the universe is based upon vibration. Vibration is one of the 7 principles of ancient Egypt, of ancient Kemetic. Everything vibrates. And so when our thoughts are in a depressed state, when our thoughts are angry, when our thoughts are depressed or despondent, those thoughts, if you were to connect yourself to a EEG machine, electroencephalograph machine, to read your brain waves are going to be vibrating on a certain frequency that's consistent with being depressed or despondent. After you do your yoga practice, your breathing, creating Om Shu Ra, your brain waves are going to change. And they're going to vibrate at a different vibrational frequency. That means they're going to oscillate at a different frequency than what they are when you are in this negative state of mind. And so that gives you it's about to be hard for you to do that. So you have to go by your feeling. You have to see how you feel. So just understand that when you feel bad, that's a certain vibrational frequency that your brain is operating on. And when you feel good, it's a different vibrational frequency that your brain is operating on. So basically, what are we doing? We're trying to hack the brain. We're trying to hack the nervous system. And we simply use breathing and we use sound in order to do that. And we're able to change, we're able to alter the brain waves, we're able to alter brain chemistry, we're able to alter a lot of the different physiological functions within the body by simply learning the process of breathing. Okay? How to breathe, how to control the breath, because without becoming too technical, because we are activating a part of the central nervous system called the parasympathetic. And the parasympathetic is that part of your nervous system that allows you to effectuate healing okay, to cause healing to take place. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring about a state of healing so that the mind, the body, the nervous system, everything can become healed, okay, and become balanced, okay? And so the word heal, H-E-A-L, it comes from the word whole, W-H-O-L-E. And so to become healed means to become whole again. That means that the mind, the body, the soul, the spirit, everything is operating as one unit rather than disparate units, okay? So what we're going to do next are some movements. We're going to do some basic movements that are going to be easy for men to do. One of the movements we're going to do is actually called Min, M-I-N. And this is an ancient Kemetic yoga posture, okay? Yoga practice. So I'm going to move my pillows out of the way because we're going to do this from a standing position, okay? And so you could use a mat, but you don't necessarily need a mat to do this because you're just going to be standing. Now, the first thing we're going to do is a basic forward bending position, okay? A basic forward bending position. So what I want to have you do is to take your feet, and you're going to open up your feet until they're the width of your shoulders. So my shoulders are here, my feet are there, right? Same width. And I don't want to be slew-footed, right? I want to turn my feet in so that my toes are slightly, just very slightly pigeon-toed. That's going to allow the weight of my body to be pushed out to the edges of my feet. So in this basic forward bend, what are we trying to do? We're trying to lengthen the muscles in the back of the legs, the muscles between your knee and your hip. These are called your hamstrings, right? The muscles between your heel and your knee at the lower part of your leg are called your calf muscles, right? And then you have your back muscles all the way from your lower back up to the base of your skull. And so basically all we're trying to do is to lengthen those muscles in order to increase the range of motion, but also as we lengthen those muscles, we're also increasing blood circulation throughout the entire body. So you put your hands on your hips like this, and you're going to breathe in, and you're going to shift your hips back. So I want my hips to go back like this, right? I'm exhaling as I bend down, and I contract my abdomen, and then I let my arms come down, and then I'm going to breathe in again, and when I exhale, my goal is to try to let the back of my fingers or my knuckles touch the floor. So I breathe in again, and I slowly breathe out. I breathe in again, and I slowly breathe out. Now, it's okay to soften your knees. Don't keep your knees pushed all the way back. Let your knees bend just slightly. That's what I mean by softening your knees. Once you get your hands down, you don't have to touch the floor. If you can't touch the floor, don't feel frustrated. Just say, I can't touch the floor. You can touch the floor, that's fine. But then I want you to take your hands and place them on your thighs. My knees are here. I'm going to place my hands right above my knees, and I'm going to breathe in, and I'm going to come up. I'm going to breathe in, and then I'm going to exhale and relax, okay? Now, after I come up, I want to become still. I want to breathe. I want to keep my eyes open because I don't want to get dizzy, right? Because when you bend forward, you are bringing a lot of blood into the brain, into the head. And then when you come up, you're taking the blood out. So sometimes you become dizzy. So I want you to take your time and do this slowly, okay? So we're going to do this 3 times. This is just what we call a basic forward bending pose. But even though it's so basic, it's very powerful because we're doing it slowly. We're doing it with the control over the breath, okay? So again, start off with your hands on your hips because what we're trying to do again is that we want the hips to shift back so we can feel that engagement in the hamstring. Now, a lot of men are going to feel like, oh, that's really, really tight or that's really uncomfortable. So that's why it's okay for you to bend your knees, okay? So with the hands here, you're going to breathe in, and then you're going to shift your hips back. You're going to bend forward as you exhale. Then you let your hands come down towards the floor. You breathe in, you breathe out. Now I want you to put your chin down towards your chest. To lengthen the back of your neck, open up your shoulders and breathe in. And as you breathe out, I want you to reach out to your left, to your right shoulder and try to reach your hand closer to the floor. And then breathe in. And as you exhale, reach out to your left shoulder. It's like you're trying to disengage your arms from your shoulders and lengthen. And breathe in and breathe out. Place your hands to your knees, right to your thighs, right above your knees. And then breathe in as you come up. So breathe in as you come up. And then slowly exhale and relax. And then breathe in and breathe out. Now, one more time. Breathe in. Hands on the hips. And then as you exhale, bend forward. Let your hands come down. Breathe in. Exhale. Kind of loosen up to your shoulders. Reach your knuckles towards the floor. As if you're trying to disengage your arms from your shoulders. And then breathe in, breathe out, hands to the thighs, inhale up. Breathe in as you come up, and then slowly exhale. Release and let your weight sink to the bottom of your feet. And breathe in. And breathe out. Okay, so that's a very nice forward bending pose. You should feel the energy. You should feel your increased blood circulation throughout your body. You should feel your head more clear, your head more open. Okay, now depending upon your state of health, you may feel some negative effects, right? Because if you don't drink enough water, if you don't eat enough fruit, if your colon is constipated, you may feel some of the negative consequences of those negative health states. So that means that you have to work on yourself. You have to work on your diet, right? So the next thing we're going to do, we'll talk about those things. The next thing we're going to do one more posture. And this one is called the pose of men. Men is spelled M-I-N. This is a pose that helps with male virility. Male virility means the power of a man. It helps to stimulate the production of testosterone, which is the male hormone. It helps to improve the health of the whole male reproductive system. Okay. So when you see images, I wish I had a picture of the ancient Kemetic or ancient Egyptian divinity that we call men, because when you see his picture, he's standing in the pose that we're going to do, and he has an erect phallus, right? And so the way this posture works is that if you have an understanding of things like acupuncture, we have an energy channel that moves to the arm and it ends at the heart. And it's called the P meridian. The P stands for pericardium. And so we're actually increasing blood circulation into the heart, or we're actually increasing the amount and quality of blood that the heart is able to pump. And it connects to the reproductive system, right? So it's going to have a positive effect upon blood circulation down here. It's going to have a positive effect upon the prostate gland and so on and so forth. That's why when you see men, he has that erect phallus, that erect penis, right? And so our ancestors, they weren't shy about showing different parts of the body, okay? So it's giving you an illustration of this is one of the effects that this posture has. And it's also a posture that women can do also, that women can do. Because we see some of the female divinities doing the same posture because they have sex organs too. Okay? So we're going to do the pose of men. Men is spelled M-I-N. We're going to do it on the left side, and then we're going to do it on the right side. So I'm going to face here. So when I turn out, you will see me. And what we're doing is that we're isolating the upper body from the lower body. So the feet are going to stay forward while the hips and the spine turns laterally to the side. Okay. So we start off by taking the right hand and placing it in front of the chest. And we place the left hand onto the back of the right hand. And then from here, we breathe in. And then on the exhalation, we're going to turn to the left. We're going to keep the hands in front of the chest. And then we breathe in again. And then with the exhalation, we let the left arm go back, straight back. We're going to feel that pectoral muscle open it up, the chest muscle. And then we place the right palm to the chest. We breathe in and we exhale as we bend the left arm. We're going to make a right angle with the left arm, keeping the palm flat. And then from here, we breathe in. And as we exhale, we turn the head to the right. Release the neck and shoulders. With the inhalation, we turn the head so the chin is over the chest. With the exhalation, we turn and we look to the left. Now turn the head, bring the chin over the chest, and then breathe in and turn the body back to the front. So this is how we look when we turn back to the front. And then when we exhale, we place the left hand to the back of the right, the thumbs touching in a pyramid. Okay? And then breathe in. And as we exhale, we're going to turn to the right. So slowly turn from the hips, turn from the lower back, turn from the middle back, turn from the upper back, all with the exhalation. And then breathe in. And then with the exhalation, the right arm goes back. The left palm comes to the chest. And then breathe in. Exhale and bend the right arm. Inhale. Exhale and turn the head and look towards the left. Breathe in and bring your chin over your chest. Exhale, turn your head and look to your right. Now turn your head back to the center of your body. And as you breathe in, turn your body back to the front. So I'm returning to this position. I move the left hand. I exhale the right palm in front of the chest. And I put the left hand to the back of the right. And then just for good measure, I breathe in and lift the arms above the head. And I exhale and I move the arms, move the body into the pose of Self-Cat. Self-Cat represents protection. And that's how we finish. We breathe in and we breathe out. And we breathe in and then we exhale and we relax the arms. Okay? Now, separate your feet about shoulders width apart. Turn your toes slightly in towards each other. And then sort of let your arms and your body turn like this. Exhale as you twist. Let your arms be free. Exhale as you twist. Okay? Okay, so that is some basic movements, basic postures that we can do as men, including a basic forward bending position, as well as the pose of men. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. And so now I want to find out if anybody have any questions. And I sort of enjoyed this session so much, I'm going to do another one. So look out for the notification that we would do another one. Okay? So, and I think the next one we'll focus more, we're going to focus some more on some nutritional things we can do. But the postures that we do in terms of helping us to learn how to manage stress, to helping us to learn how to breathe properly, doing the movements and the postures to energize the body, to energize the organs. You know, I think this has been a lot, you know, for you know, especially somebody who may not be experienced with yoga, you know, as many men are not. And even if you are experienced with yoga, this may give you a different perspective on the practice. Okay? So thank you very much. And I will see you possibly next week. You know, we'll send out a notice for when the next session is going to be. And I'm going to say Hotep. I'm going to say Onk. Hotep means peace. Onk Uja Seneb. It means life, health, and prosperity. And somebody's asking the question, but what can be done for prostate health? The movement that we just did is for, you know, the pose of men. Go, you know, this video would be, you can go back and watch it, but we talked about that. The first thing you have to do is you have to work with your breath, your breathing, your relaxation. A lot of times we have a problem with the prostate because of stress. So that's what we're doing. We're working with stress. And then the movement, the posture that we did, the pose of men, it has a positive effect upon the health of the prostate. You can also take a herb. And I was thinking about the herb earlier, and now my mind, it left my mind. But we would go back, we would come back to this. Yeah, everything we did, like now you all are asking me the questions. So somebody said, what is a good pose for upper back and back pain? We just did it. We stood up and we did a forward bending pose. We lifted with the arms. We try to get the knuckles to the floor. That is good for your spine. It's good for all parts of your spine and so on and so forth. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to do the pose of my eye, but that's available all over the YouTube my channel. But yeah, and I'm gonna do some more. So just be patient. I will be back. All right. So Hotep.